Morning YouTube, weather's grim, fire's lit, dog 1, dog 2, dog 3 unconscious. So we're going to do an indoor project today. So this tank I've had quite a while, it's been hanging around outside and I've been meaning to make it up for quite some time, but I just ain't got round to it, so today's the day. So as you can see, it's on its back right now. So what we did, I'll go back around there. My husband had an old cork board, you know, the ones that you pin notices and things on. And we peeled off, or he peeled off the cork for me. It was double-sided. And we were going to use this as the background. But it's not very attractive, to be honest with you. It's very thin, it's quite smooth. I'm not sure any plants will be able to climb on it. So I did use it as a base for sticking this bark on. So what I used to do that, I use silicone sealant. You can see it, let's go back around again. So you've got to use the waterproof stuff. I mean, I think all silicone's waterproof, but this is the plumber's stuff. So clear, obviously, for obvious reasons. And I stuck it all in overnight. I left it overnight. My husband made up some of these old milk cartons for me to hold it down. And I must say it's worked really well. It is all stuck really firm, so I'm really pleased. There's a couple of little, you know, things where you can see the silicone, like there on the edge, in there. I mean, that is not quite stuck, but, you know, we'll get over it. But I think once the plants grow up, it won't look so bad. So I've got everything here I need. I've got the bits of wood. So we've dismantled the frog tank. So this is the bit of wood that was in the frog tank. I've got another piece, where is it? Here, which I've had hanging around for quite a while. There, I quite like that one. I did have an orchid on it, but it wasn't happy on there, so I took it off. I've also got this lovely bit of wood that my husband brought back from the beach. So all this is what we've collected from the beach. And I've got plants, so the frog tank plants are there. So they've been removed. And I've got some other plants around the corner here. I do have some others that I can use, like taller ones. These plants are nothing special. They're not specifically for terrariums or anything. I've just picked out sort of a variety of colours and a variety of textures, leaf texture, and some things are low growing, like the baby's tears. That's a variegated one, and I've got a plain one here. This stuff's really good, does well in terrariums. Little cyclamen there. So various things. This is the stuff that will climb up at the back. I'm going to put some Spanish moss, and I've got an air plant there in the background. This is bromeliads. I'm going to put them in. And yeah, so a few bits and pieces. Ferns. I know ferns do really well in the tanks. So anyway, so I'm going to put it in its place now and start to make it up, and I will film it as I go along. Right, so here we are. Tank's in its position, so it's going on this piece of furniture here. In the bottom, make sure your tank doesn't leak. That's for starters. In the bottom, I've got some gravel. Any old gravel would do. We've got loads of this stuff left over, so from various tanks, so use that. On top of that, you need a barrier between your substrate or compost or whatever you want to use, so that it doesn't mix with the gravel. So I've just used a bit of shade cloth that we had kicking around. We like to reuse stuff. And then the actual growing medium, substrate, compost, whatever you want to call it. In there we've got some of my husband's homemade compost, so it's got lots of bioactivity, etc. in it. some orchid bark just for a bit more drainage so it doesn't, keep it a bit lighter to stop it compacting, and charcoal. Now, I've said this before, don't use charcoal that you buy for your barbecue because that's impregnated with some sort of accelerant. That's not good. You have to use garden charcoal. Just so happens my husband made this charcoal himself and we've got some kicking around. So I'm going to make it up now. I'm going to put the compost substrate in there, play around with it, put the lumps of wood in, muck about with it, and then we'll see what it looks like. Right, so here we are. I've put the substrate in on top. I've put this long piece of wood, let's get down on my knee so you can see it better. Long piece of wood at the back there, and I've just built a shelf with some bark here on the right, on the left. I did try and put some of this big wood here, what I had, from, that was in the frog terrarium. And to be honest, it just didn't look right. It looked overpowering. I mean, this terrarium is all about the plants. So I don't want to overthink it and overstock it with too much hard landscaping. So I'm now going to leave it for a little while and think about it and see if I'm happy with that. And if I am, I'm going to start looking at putting some of the plants in, and I will start by putting the ficus at the back there and try and fix it up, up onto the back bark. Okay. Right, here we are, the end result. I hope you like it. I'm reasonably pleased with it. Obviously at this stage it looks very new. There's the plants are very small. They've got to grow into each other and take over a bit like the other three, which I'll show you in a minute when I filmed this one. So as you can see, getting a bit closer here, I've got the ficus growing up the back in places. Hopefully that'll grow up, and some more sort of ficus there, variegated ficus at the end. So I'm hoping that'll grow up and cover quite a bit of the bark at the back. I've got an air plant. I've got some, let's get down on my knee so you can see. Oops, bit of Spanish moss up there. I will need to keep it sprayed, but I've got a variety of plants in here. I also put some leaf mould in there to help it look sort of a bit more naturalised. I don't know if I'll keep that in there or no. Depends on how it goes. I think it looks quite nice to have a little flowering plant in there. I did think about putting an orchid in, but it's going to be quite a wet, sort of humid atmosphere, and I'm not sure whether I've got an orchid suitable for that at the moment. But anyway, I'm relatively pleased. So I've got, you can see the wood in the back there, and the branch across the top. Maybe I could have put a bit of wood in here in the end, but I ended up building up the terraces. So I've got, terrace up the back there. I've got another small terrace in the middle. So, you always think it differently. When you've completed a project and you look at it, you think, oh, could have done that, could have done this. But overall, I'm reasonably happy with it. So once the plants grow in, I think it'll look okay. You can tell me what you think in the comments. So yeah, so we'll keep an eye on it. This is the biggest terrarium I've ever made. Like I say, it's probably 3 times, well, the size of the other 3 all put together. We'll have a look at the other 3 now, and you'll see what I mean by when it's all grown in, how better they look. So you can see by this 3, they've been established quite a long time, especially this one with all the ficus plant growing up in the back. I've got to trim that back so regular, it's unbelievable. So it's very happy in there, so hopefully it will take off in the other one. And then we've got the other one on the end. I've recently did a little bit of maintenance on these to keep them tidy them up a bit, just chomp the plants back. I don't feed the plants apart from the orchids because I've got a phalaenopsis in that one. I did have a dendrobium in here, but that died back. I did have a Polpax back there, but that dried back. But the Coleogene is still going, and there is no orchids in the end one. So apart from, a bit of dieback with those, a lot of the plants, you can just chomp them back and they do pretty good. So one last look at it, and hopefully it'll look really good. In a few months' time, I'll do an update. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully this will help anybody who want to give it a try. You just get an old second-hand. I think this whole project's probably cost me $100. Obviously, the tank and the light was the most expensive, which was about, I think it was about $80. And I've bought about $20 worth of plants. Everything else I had the bark, the gravel, the small piece of shade cloth for the barrier. Everything I had here. So I'm quite lucky where I've got a lot of that stuff. But you can collect it. You could go out in the woods and collect that stuff easily enough. Leaf mold, easy to collect. So, you could knock up one of these projects for about $100 if you really wanted to, or £50 or whatever it is in the US or any other country, I'm not sure. But anyway, give it a go. You can always pull it all out and start again if you're not happy. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like or dislike and subscribe, and I'll catch you later. Bye for now.